Hi, my name is Christine. I'm a demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And in this video I wanted to show you two really fun techniques to kind of help you stretch your colors out and do different effects with your cards. So we are going to use the Whisper White No Cards and Envelopes, which are nice thick white paper, and they come with the envelopes and they are pre-scored for you, so you don't have to worry about cutting or scoring or any of that to make your card bases. So I'll set those aside. I've already taken out what I need, and we're using the Painted Poppies stamp set, which is for definitely more than Remembrance Day, even though I know that's what comes to mind in November. And we are actually going to make a congratulations card and a thank you card. And then I'm using the Peaceful Moments stamp set, and this is really great. It's got sentiments, congratulations, happy birthday, sympathy, thank you, wishing you every happiness a special day will bring, which is a nice, wedding or a big something new, starting something new. Yeah, it's just got really nice sentiments that can be used all year round. So to start, we are going to do some masking, which is a really fun technique. Again, I'm going to grab so we've got our card base. I am stamping directly onto the Whisper White cardstock. What I really like with it is if you make a mistake, you're not having to throw out your card base. You can just start over, and we will stick this to the card base when we're done. So I'm going to set the card base out of the way. We're going to be stamping on that Whisper White, like I said. And masking is a really fun image building technique, and it's really not hard to do. So we're going to use our main poppy image and stamp it up here. And then we're going to stamp the same image onto a sticky note. Always make sure you've got that you figure out if you don't have, I know they make sticky notes that are actually sticky the whole way around, which is awesome. I don't have those. So make sure you're stamping where at least part of your image is going to be on the sticky part. And we can set that aside. And then what you're going to do is take your sticky note and some paper crafting scissors, and you're going to go along and cut it out. So the main tip if you're making a mask is to actually go along that black line. Make sure that you're not leaving any space outside the line. Otherwise, when you make your mask, you will have space between the other image and your main image that you're trying to stamp over. So I'm actually cutting into the black line. Now, I will not make you watch me do a whole image. I'm actually going to set this aside and through the power of video, pull out the one I did earlier. So now what we want to do is make sure that we line up the image, and I'm going to put it down over top of my original stamped image. So I want to make sure that I'm actually really lined up. As I'd mentioned, I cut into the black line so that I wouldn't have anything sticking out. So using sticky notes that are not sticky the whole way through makes it a little more important that it is well on top. All right, now I'm going to add some pretty leaves to this flower, but I didn't want the leaf to like show through, right? I want it to be a nice I want it to look like the flower is ahead of the leaves. So that's what we use masking for. So I'm going to use Granny Apple Green. And I am stamping right on top of my image. Right, so you wouldn't want to stamp on top of your, just add one more. You wouldn't want to stamp on top of your actual stamped image because you would see the leaves through. And we want to avoid that. So check out what happens when I remove the mask. All of a sudden our poppy is on top of those leaves, which I think is awesome. I love doing masks. So it's a very simple technique, and it just adds depth to that image that you're working on. So I'm not going to color the leaves on this. What I'm going to do is add color to the flower by using the paint splotch image and the Magenta Madness ink. So we're going to have a nice bright card. There we go. Then, moving on, we're going to add a sentiment to this. Did I say? I said we'd make it congratulations. So we will do that.
Do you know where my coupon is?
Excuse the interruption. As a parent, we are expected to be the knower of where all things are. All right, so that's our card. Isn't that pretty with the mask? It just makes it really simple to do, and it just adds a depth to the image that you wouldn't ordinarily have. So the last thing to do here with our congratulations card is to add a little bit of bling, and then we will put those layers together. So I'm using the Rhinestone Classic Jewels, and I'm just going to be very abstract with where I put those, just to add a little visual element. There we go. And then I'm going to use my liquid glue and put that onto my card base. The liquid glue is nice to use for layers because it allows you to kind of move things around a little bit before it sets, so that you have your layers exactly where you want them, and you don't have to worry about having a crooked card, unless of course you were aiming for a crooked card, which is entirely possible. And there we go. Now, before I fold this, I just want to add a little bit of detailing inside the card. So we made a congratulations card. I'm just going to use, I'll use the poppy again. I don't want to take up too much space because I want to leave some room to write. But it's always nice to, so I'm figuring out where my center is, so I'm not going to stamp onto it. There we go. So just a little bit of poppy there, and I'm going to put some on the envelope as well. And I could always, if I wanted to, add some more color to that, but I'm just going to leave it. There we go. So I'll just fold this, and we will, I've lost my bone folder. Wow, I'll use my block. So if you don't have a bone folder, to make that crisp fold, you can also use the edge of your block. Just make sure it's clean so that you're not smudging up your card. So this is our congratulations card using the masking technique. So I just wanted to show one more fun technique. We're actually going to use the same stamp, so I'll just clean it a little bit. So for this one, again, we're using one of the pre-cut cards and pre-scored cards, and I'm using another piece of Whisper White. This one I have cut a bit smaller because I have an idea. So we are going to use the Magenta Madness and the black. So I'm going to start by stamping the image right in the center. And then I'm going to put one on each side. I've started in the center just so that I know where to line it up. And this is going to, you know, go off the page, and that's okay. So for this technique, I call it stamping off. Essentially, you're going to only put color on this stamp once, and you're going to keep stamping so that your intensity of color is going to be different for each flower, and it just has a really nice effect. So I'm starting with my deepest intensity, which is going to be my last flower because I kind of want to build. So that's 1 and 2 and 3. So you can see it going from dark to medium to light. So it's the same color, but it's going across. So it kind of makes it look like you're using, you know, various shades of pink, but it's the same magenta madness color. Then we're going to add our sentiment directly onto the card. For this one, I'm doing, I'm going to do the horizontal instead of portrait. And I'm actually going to make a thank you card for this one. So I'm going to use I'm just going to lay this on. I'm not gluing it right away. I'm centering it on the front. But I want to be able to know where to stamp to have that thank you show. So I'm actually moving this up a teeny bit because I do want to have enough room for my thank you. So using black ink, I will put him on the bottom. There we go. And as you know, I do like to stamp my envelopes and the insides of my cards, so I'm going to do that before I put this together. So for this one, there's a really cute sentiment that I like to use, and it is, "You shouldn't have, but I'm glad you did." So for the inside of a thank you card, I think that's really fun. And there we go. So later, then we will put just a little bit of the same image. Poking up. And I'll just put a little bit at the top too. There we go. And I'll do the card. Envelope, I should say. There we go. So I've got nicely coordinated envelope and card. All right. So to put this on, I wanted to have a little more dimension. So I'm going to use my double-sided foam bits here. They're called dimensionals, and that's exactly what they do, is they add dimension by popping up whatever it is that you put them on. So I'm just putting enough of them on. I always try to think of, okay, I'm going to put this in the post. I don't want it to be completely flattened by the time it gets to the recipient. So I'm not going right to the edge so that you don't see them if you're kind of holding the card up at various angles. And I'm putting enough of them that it'll have kind of structural integrity, that if it goes through, if it gets squished through whatever machines they use at the post office, it won't be a complete mess by the time it arrives. So when I'm using dimensionals, I always put down my bottom. Nothing sticky is on the paper yet. I'm making sure that my sides are where I want them to be. And when I'm happy with the alignment, I let it fall. I haven't pressed it down, so it's not too hard to lift and move things a little bit if I need to. And there we go. So that is our thank you card. And again, just one ink color that I've carried across. And I really don't know under what my bone folder is. And we'll just use the block again. There we go. And just to give you another idea, I have used for this other card, I used Gorgeous Grape, which is a beautiful, dark, purple to make the same card. For this one, I actually did stamp directly onto the card. I did not add a layer of Whisper White. I did the inside and the envelope. So, I love that color. Wow, so brilliant. Anyway, I hope you like these cards. I hope you've learned a little bit about two techniques that are nice and easy to use without a ton of supplies. And please let me know if you have any questions. I would love to hear from you. Thanks.